So have you ever done one of those DNA ancestry tests? You know, the ones where you send off a sample and wait for the results? Well, that one simple act of curiosity might have sent your most personal, most intimate data on a wild and pretty unexpected journey. Let's trace that path from a little bit of spit to a multi-million-dollar corporate asset. Yeah, for so many of us, this is where it all started. It's such a simple, almost trivial thing, right? You spit into a tube, you seal it up, and you mail it off, just buzzing with curiosity about the secrets your DNA might unlock. And then somehow, that simple act of spitting into a tube became this: $256 million. All of a sudden, your personal quest to find out where you came from has a massive corporate price tag attached to it. So how in the world did that happen? That's the core question we're digging into today. How did a vial of your saliva, something you sent off for a bit of fun, become a multi-million-dollar asset for a pharmaceutical giant? The story, well, it's way more complex than you might think. Okay, so let's rewind. Let's go back to the very beginning, back to that initial promise. The appeal was just so powerful because it was so personal. What could this little tube actually reveal about you? And this is exactly why these kits flew off the shelves. I mean, companies like 23andMe were offering you a chance to trace your family tree back generations, maybe get a heads up on potential health risks, and just learn some fun, quirky things about your own biology. And all of it from a simple at-home test. It really felt like the future of personal knowledge had just arrived in a box on your doorstep. But then, things changed. The business model did a complete 180. The focus quietly shifted from selling you insights about your data to selling your data itself. And this, right here, is where the story takes a really sharp turn. And boy, did they change fast. Just look at this timeline. It shows a company in a total free fall. You've got a massive data breach in 2023 that hit millions of users. That leads to huge financial trouble, then bankruptcy, and finally, boom, an acquisition by the pharma company Regeneron. It all happened so fast. So the crucial question is, what exactly did Regeneron buy? So here's what happened in the deal, because it was a pretty clever split. Regeneron didn't just buy the whole company. No, they went straight for the crown jewel, that massive genetic database with over 15 million users' data. Why? Because a database that huge is like a gold mine for researchers. It lets them spot patterns between genes and diseases, which can dramatically speed up the discovery of new drugs. Meanwhile, the telehealth service, Lemonade Health, was kept separate. So think about that. Your most intimate info, your genetic blueprint on one side, and your health data on the other was suddenly split between two different companies with two very different agendas. Okay, this is a huge deal because this acquisition completely changes the game when it comes to risk. The data you shared for a bit of personal discovery is now serving a totally different purpose, and that raises some really serious questions about your privacy. And this is the absolute key thing to understand. Your genetic blueprint is the one piece of data about you that is totally permanent. It's unchangeable. You can change your password, or you can cancel a credit card, but there is no reset button for your DNA. It holds secrets not just about you, but about your parents, your kids, your entire family forever. And that permanence, that unchangeable nature, leads to this really scary idea: genetic discrimination. I mean, just imagine being denied life insurance, or maybe even a job, because some company has data that suggests you have a higher risk for some future illness. That's the potential danger we're talking about here. So let's really spell out what these new risks look like. First, your data is now in the hands of a pharmaceutical company. Their main goal is drug research, which could mean your data gets shared with partners you've never even heard of. Second, what about the consent you gave? It's now in a huge legal gray area. Did you really agree to this specific use? And finally, this isn't just theoretical. It could lead to real-world consequences, like being turned down for life insurance because of something in your genetic profile. Right about now, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, aren't there laws to protect me from all this? And the answer is, sort of. But they're more like a patchwork quilt with some pretty big holes, especially when it comes to this kind of data. I mean, just take a look around the world. It's a total mess. In the US, you've got laws like GINA and HIPAA, but here's the catch. They don't protect you from discrimination when it comes to things like life insurance or housing. Over in the EU, the GDPR is way stronger, but there are still big questions about data that was collected years ago. And a lot of other countries are even further behind. The takeaway here is pretty clear. There is no single comprehensive shield protecting your genetic data. And remember that huge data breach back in 2023? That was the canary in the coal mine. It was definitive proof that the security measures and the legal protections we had in place were just not strong enough to protect this incredibly sensitive information. It was a massive wake-up call that, honestly, for millions of people, came way too late. So it all sounds a bit doom and gloom, right? But where do we go from here? This whole situation shows that we urgently need a brand new approach, one that's focused on building a much safer future for our most personal data. Well, a lot of experts are pointing to a pretty clear playbook, a 5-step path to fix this mess. It has to start with simple, honest consent. No more hiding the details in 50 pages of legal jargon. Then we need independent watchdogs to keep an eye on things. For security, things like next-level encryption need to be mandatory, not optional. Our laws have to be dragged into the genetic age. And finally, and this is the big one, we have to put control back in your hands. Give you the absolute power to delete your data or take back your consent whenever you want. At the end of the day, it all boils down to one simple but massive question. Your genetic code. It's the most intimate story ever written. It is, quite literally, priceless. And as it becomes just another commodity in a billion-dollar industry, the question we all have to ask ourselves is this: who do we want holding the pen?